You're sitting in a meeting. Everyone's nodding. The conversation is flowing. People are agreeing. On the surface, everything looks perfectly fine. But you caught something. A slight pause before your colleague said, "Yeah, that sounds great." A smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. The way someone shifted in their chair right after the decision was made, like their body quietly disagreed with what their mouth just approved. You registered all of it, instantly, without trying, and you said nothing, because by now you've learned something. Pointing out what nobody else seems to see doesn't make people grateful. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes you the overthinking one, the too sensitive one, the difficult one. So you stay quiet. But here's the deeper part. It's not just that meeting. It's every room you've ever walked into, every dinner table, every group of friends, every family gathering. You're always watching, always reading, always slightly outside the experience everyone else seems to be living inside of. And you've never fully been able to explain why. Let me offer you something. This didn't start in adulthood. It started much earlier, in a home where the emotional climate wasn't always stable. It didn't have to be loud. No one had to be yelling. Sometimes it's quieter than that. Maybe a parent's mood could shift the energy of the entire house without a single word being spoken. Maybe you learned to check the temperature of the room before you even said good morning. So you started watching, not because you were anxious by nature, but because it was smart, it was adaptive. You became a student of micro-expressions, of tone, of silence. You learned what a forced laugh sounds like, what "I'm fine" feels like when it actually means the opposite. Your brain did exactly what it needed to do. It kept you safe, it kept you useful, it kept you one step ahead of rejection or conflict. You didn't choose to become hyperperceptive, you were trained into it. But here's what no one tells you about a survival skill that works too well. It doesn't retire when the danger is gone. So now you carry that same scanning system into every room you enter as an adult. At dinner with friends, you notice the tension no one is addressing. At a party, you can tell when someone's laughter is performative. In a conversation with your partner, you detect the shift in tone 3 sentences before they realize they're upset. You catch everything, and it's exhausting. But the hardest part isn't the seeing, it's what the seeing does to your ability to just be present. You feel like you're watching your own life through glass. You're there, you're included, people like you, but you never fully land in the moment, because some part of your brain is still monitoring. And that creates a quiet kind of loneliness. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Not because no one cares, but because you're operating on a frequency most people don't even know exists. Relationships get complicated too. You read your partner with almost unfair accuracy. But relaxing next to them without analyzing every pause, every glance, every shift in energy, that feels harder. The very thing that makes you deeply perceptive is the same thing that keeps you from fully resting inside your connections. Now hear this carefully. What you carry is not a flaw. It is a rare ability. You read emotional environments the way analysts read data. You detect inconsistencies between what people say and what they actually mean. You sense a room shifting before anyone else notices. That's not overthinking, that's trained perception. And it was built under real emotional pressure. That's why people trust you with things they don't tell anyone else. That's why you often understand someone better than they understand themselves. Your depth is not a burden, it's capacity. The goal was never to stop seeing, The goal is to learn when your scanning is truly protecting you, and when it's just an old reflex firing in a room that is actually safe. And if you're still listening, let me say this directly to you. That feeling of being different, it was never a failure of belonging. It was the result of a mind trained to see more. You were never broken. You were perceptive. You were never outside the room. You were simply the only one who could see the whole room clear.